Hi everyone, welcome to another time-lapse video. I recently went on a bike trip with my husband to Great Falls, Maryland. It was about 52 or so miles round trip, and we rode from our house to Great Falls and back, and a lot of that ride was along the C&O Canal, which has tons of really beautiful views and wildlife. So I took a bunch of pictures, and of course, we're riding our bikes, so we didn't stop long enough to sketch on the spot, so I thought I would do a couple spreads after the fact. So today I am painting a little scene from along the way. This painting this sketch, it's a sketch painting, whatever, is done with gouache. It's a special kind of gouache called Aqyla by Kusakabe, I think is how you pronounce that. It's a Japanese brand, and I guess it took them 10 years to develop this specific paint. It's like a cross between acrylic paint and gouache. Now, to be completely honest, I can't tell a huge difference between it and regular gouache. That might just be because I'm truthfully not that experienced with gouache. I've used a really cheap brand and I've used this brand, and that's about it. So, maybe if I get like a quality gouache and use that for a while, I might have some more things to say about it, but it's really amazing. I love it. I feel like it acts just like gouache, in my opinion. Whenever I do a painting like this, I kind of like to split it up into sections. In this case, I did the sky first, then I worked with the rocks, and then I worked with the trees and the water a little bit at the same time. So I always start with the furthest thing away, because it just makes sense. If you have to overlap the trees over the sky, you would want to do the sky first. A lot of time when I'm painting something that has a lot of dimension or layers, I do it the same way that I would paint fur. It's kind of a weird comparison, I guess, but this is how I do it. I start with the mid-tone of the piece that I'm doing. Like, for instance, I'm painting the rocks. So I'm going to use like a mid-tone gray for the base. And then I kind of look at it closely and see where the super dark contrasting parts would be, like the shadows. Next, I'll put in some highlights, and I'll keep building the shadows and the highlights up until I'm satisfied with the contrast. And that's something that it took me a while to get used to. I always tend to make things kind of light. And sometimes I'll be painting something and be like, oh, it looks okay. And then I'll force myself to add more contrast, and it just improves it so much. So don't be afraid of that. I really enjoy using gouache as opposed to watercolors. I mean, I love watercolors for their portability, so that's what I use when I'm on the go. But I love to use gouache because they're kind of like a cross between watercolor and acrylic to me. And what I love about them is you can layer with the lights on top of the darks if you need to. For watercolors, you can't really do that. You have to plan ahead and know where your light spots are, and you just don't paint. You have to have the paper showing through for that, and that is pretty tricky. So I prefer to cover the entire canvas or paper with paint if I have a choice in the matter. So that's why I choose gouache whenever I'm at home. It's just really nice medium. It dries pretty fast, and it's opaque, and I don't know. That's just what I just like that. One thing I've learned through the years with sketch journaling is to not be a perfectionist about it and try not to be too picky, because it's just my journal. I mean, I am striving to do a wonderful job in these, of course, but it's for me, and it's just for myself. It's for my memories. So it's very freeing. It's okay if I mess it up. It's not a big deal. And it's just a relaxing thing. At the end of this video, I will show the original photo and then the finished product. So you'll be able to see that the original photo, it does look like this, but it doesn't really look like this. Every detail is not exactly the same. I just got the thought and the memory from it. And that's all that's really important. I mean, I'm not striving for realism, just a journal, just an impression in my mind. And it's a very special thing because it puts this imprint that snapping a picture just does not do. I know a lot of people who look at my journals and say, I would love to do that, but they're afraid to start. They think their skills aren't good enough, or they're going to mess up their sketchbook. You know, I struggle with that every time I start a new page. I worry that it's not going to be good enough, or it just won't live up to my expectations. So I encourage you to push through that and just don't be afraid. Just mess up your sketchbook. That's what sketchbooks are for. There's freedom in the sketchbook. I mean, only happy accidents. Bob Ross, he knew what he was talking about. Thank you so much for your support and for watching this video. Please consider sharing this with your friends or anybody that you think might want to learn some more about gouache or sketch journaling or whatever might be on my channel. Please like and subscribe. There's also going to be links below to all the supplies that I've used and other ways you can follow me on social media. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day.